Okay, now I am. Okay, so the way that you connect with people is really extremely important because you don't want to overwhelm them. You want to know who they are, okay? If somebody is interested in coaching, you don't want to go in and tell them everything that coaching is right off of the bat. My best tip for you in conversations is to do the least amount of talking as you possibly can. If somebody votes on a poll of mine about coaching, or if they like a post about mine about coaching, the very first thing I'm going to do is say, what has you interested in coaching? And they're going to tell me, and I'm going to continue asking them questions and actually getting to know them as a person before we ever get into a conversation about what coaching is, about how you make money, about how much it costs to sign up. Like, I want to know these people, and I want to know that they're going to be a good fit, and I want them to know that they're going to be a good fit. So get to know the person, okay? My second big tip for you is don't talk about specifics of coaching unless you have to through text, on Messenger, or email. Like, don't do it that way. Instead, I want you to get them either, number one, video message them, or number two, set up a one-on-one call with them. Almost every single person that I connect with about coaching, my goal is to get them on the phone with me. Because I know that when I talk to somebody on the phone, my passion and my energy and my excitement for coaching is going to come out a whole lot more than through a message on Instagram. I want that time to get to know them as a person. And then when I hop on the phone with them, I kind of reiterate that same conversation that we had on Instagram or wherever it is that we are having that conversation. I usually say, so I know you on Instagram, like I've seen you post and we've had some conversations, but just tell me about yourself, like where you live, what's your life phase, just all those things, because I want to get to know people. I want to know them before they commit to my team. And then I say, okay, do you want me to give you the rundown of what I do as a coach, or would you rather ask me questions first? And I let them know that they have the lead on this. And then I answer all of their questions. I make sure they know I can help them be successful. And then I usually tell them what it would look like to get started as a coach. And by the end of the conversation, a lot of times I'm sending them a link on how to sign up, or they say, can I have a day to think about it, or a week to think about it, or whatever. And then I follow up with them later. Okay. So you want to get them on the phone if at all possible. I also like to FaceTime people, but maybe I'm weird, but I really, really like to see people face to face. Okay. So Wednesday, a story, okay? I want your story to be heavy on what you do as a coach and make it simple. Think of this maybe as kind of like a coach sneak peek, but do it on your story. And you can even tell people that. Like, I'm going to take today and I'm going to tell you what coaching is all about. Make sure you're energetic. Make sure you make it simple, like I said, and make sure like you can't be boring when you're talking about coaching. Like, you don't need to like put on a costume and do a dance, but you need to make sure that it's not way too long. You need to make sure it's not just close up of your face the entire time. Make it interactive and have a plan before you go into your story. Like, I like to focus on getting paid to work out. I like to focus on posting on social media, and I like to focus on helping other people see success. Like, that's what we really do as a coach. And make sure whenever you do your stories about coaching that you're taking breaks in it to make it interactive, like polls or questions. That way people can respond and you have a way to reach out to people, okay? You can also tell this in a creative way. Like, you don't have to talk the entire time. You could put pictures of yourself, and in writing you could answer some questions, or in writing you can say what you do. You want to make sure that people are not swiping away from your stories when you're talking about coaching. Like, they need to stay engaged to really understand what you're doing. And then Thursday, you'll see, is another connection day. Thursday is going to be all about messaging people who watch your stories. If you have a girl who watched all 5 stories about you saying what a coach does, you can easily reach out to her and say, hey, I saw you caught my stories yesterday about coaching. Do you have interest in what I do? And then you have that conversation, get to know her, ask her questions, ask her what her goals are, stuff like that. And when you're talking about what you do as a coach, you can also throw in reasons of like why you coach. Like, for me, I'm going to ask people if they have debt. And if they say yes, I'm going to reach out to them and be like, hey, tell me about your debt. Like, how much do you have to pay off? Are you looking for a way to pay it off faster? Here's my story with debt. You're making connections with people and relating to them so they can see that coaching can help them because it's helped you. And then Friday, this might terrify some of you, I want you to go live on why you coach. I want you to make sure that you have a plan when you go live. Do this on Instagram or Facebook. I don't care. I was thinking Instagram mostly. But go live on the real reasons and don't hold back. Why do you coach? Is it for your accountability? Is it for this community? Is it to pay off debt? Is it because you felt so alone in your new town or your new city that you just wanted some friends, and that's what coaching has provided for you? You have to be so real about why you coach, because that's how you attract people like you who also want to coach, okay? And then your goal by the end of this first week is that you have 2 coaches, okay? These could be discount coaches. These could be family members that you've talked to about supporting your business, or they can be business builders. Every single time you talk to somebody about signing up with you, even if it's just for workout programs and you know they don't have any interest in coaching at all for the business opportunity, you need to be offering them the discount every single time. And the way I do that is when we get to the part about, okay, send me the link. Like when we get to sign up, I say, okay, one last question. Do you want 25% off of everything from here on out? And usually it's a yes. So don't forget to offer that opportunity, okay? So you all are very good at reading. I know that. And I'm not going to do this through every single post because I know you can read. But I'm hoping at this point that you have gone through my schedule and maybe you have some questions for me. So I just kind of want to open it up the rest of the time for questions. So hit me.
What's your best advice for like a formula for stories when you're explaining coaching? Because I feel like I've done it several different ways, but I don't know. When you do it, you kind of got like a thing down and you switch it up, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think my best advice is keep it entertaining. And I don't mean like dancing and singing and craziness. I mean like make sure that people don't swipe past you. So I would do a mixture of like maybe here's like type out the topic that you're going to talk about and maybe talk about it for a slide and then put an image with writing on it for a slide and then something interactive. And then put your next topic and then do that same thing. That way people have something interesting to look at. I don't want to watch anybody talk for 3 slides straight about anything usually. And I find myself doing that too. And I'm sure people are bored out of their minds when I do that. So I try really hard to make sure that when I'm doing a story on coaching, that I keep attention. So I think that's my number 1 key. Figure out, and this is totally personal. Think about what makes you hooked onto somebody's stories. If you watch somebody's full story, they've done something right. So figure out what keeps you interested and do that. And figure out what also makes you swipe away and don't do that, because it's different for me and different for you.
Thanks.
Yep. What else?
So not really a question, and not that I'm some like major expert or anything, but something that I've seen a couple of my coaches doing that I'm like, whenever they show it to me, I'm like, is the word vomiting. So like I really liked, and I think that it should be stressed so heavily whenever you said like say as little as you can possibly say with still getting your point across, because it's like no one wants to read like 3 paragraphs about what you get or what it is that you do. So it was just like, it's kind of painful to look at, and it's like those would be good for like the video messages that you were talking about. So
yes, I love that. I love video messages, and I love getting people on the phone because there's no way to sound robotic when you're just being yourself. And whenever you're regurgitating something in writing, it's really easy to feel and sound robotic. I think something else worth mentioning is the way we write and the way you post about coaching. At some point, I honestly want to do like a writing conference. Sounds really dumb, but I'm a good writer, and I know that. And I know that people struggle with writing. I used to teach writing. So I think that the way you write posts about coaching, like, I think it really matters. I don't want you to stress yourself out about it. I want you to do your best this week in like hooking people with your posts and making them interesting, and also like getting to the emotion of why you coach and why you think other people should coach. And then throughout this 6 weeks, one of my major goals is to get back into my writing teacher hat and really give you some feedback about your writing. And I'm going to probably not be hard on you, but I am going to be honest with you about your writing and what needs to improve. Because if people start reading and they don't like your writing, they're not going to keep reading, if that makes sense. Like, you can make somebody feel something by writing powerfully. So that's something I want to talk about throughout these 6 weeks, because I think it matters.
Can I say something with that?
Yeah.
Sorry for this fan being really loud, if you can hear it. Anyway, what I was doing the past couple of days was, if you have a business account on Instagram, you can look at your insights and look at like different things. And like, anyway, I was looking at different posts because I've changed the way I've written posts like constantly, trying to figure out what works. And if you look at like what you've gotten the most engagement on, what you've gotten the most comments, like, shares, saves, whatever, I was kind of trying to put those posts together and see what they had in common. And that's like a big thing with market research, that like just drawing from your own audience already, seeing what kind of style you put your posts in, that people were actually stopping, looking, pressing, commenting. So
I love that. And also the same way as stories, notice whose posts or what kind of posts you actually read the full thing. And notice what kind of posts you're like, I'm bored, I'm moving on. Because that's the way you should be writing. You don't want to copy people, obviously, but you can simulate somebody's style of writing and do that yourself too. Let me go back over here to see. I also wanted to mention the 5th week. I don't know if you noticed or not, but on the 5th week, I didn't tell you at all what to post. I put connect on every single day. And if you work an hour a day or 30 minutes a day or whatever it is, I want you to make sure that you're connecting with people literally the entire time, literally the whole time that you work that day. Obviously, you're still going to post. Obviously, you're still going to be on your story. I'm kind of leaving that up to you. And I put that in there because that's what I do. Like, I don't want to overwhelm people with promotion all the time. And if you at least take 1 week off and kind of softly promote and mostly worry about making connections with people, I think that's good in a month or 6 weeks, to take a week off to just kind of do your thing and plan for the next week, all that. And then you'll also notice that the last week, the 6th week, it's not so heavy on coaching, but it is a lot about your journey. Because me anyway, coaching has 100% changed my health. So you can easily tie that in. And I think that's the same week. Yeah, that's the week I put 2 discount coaches, because I figure that's probably a week that you could use to sign up your clients, but sign up your clients as discount coaches as often as possible. This 6 weeks is going to feel heavy, and you're probably going to feel like you're working harder than ever before, but I promise you, if you hit diamond and you hold it for 6 weeks, it will be, and no matter what, it will be worth it. Even if you don't hit diamond after these 6 weeks, it will be worth it to give this a shot and work really hard and see the progress in your business, because I don't think there's any way you get through these 6 weeks and you're like, I'm at the same place I was when I started. I don't think that's possible.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
At what point do I start building my husband's legs, I guess?
Get yourself to diamond, get yourself to stable diamond, and don't worry about him until that.
Got it. Okay.
Unless you want him to be emerald for your diamond. Then do that.
Well, I mean, like, he's currently on my left leg, and last time I looked, I only had 3 active coaches on there, so I would still need a 4th on that leg anyways to be active. But if I could get him to emerald, that would solidify my left leg.
Right. Yeah, I would recommend get him to emerald if you need to do that, and then just keep him an active emerald, and then don't worry about him for a while.
Okay. Deal.
Is anybody anxious about week 4 when your goal is 2 emeralds? Because that's a pretty big deal, especially if you don't have any emeralds. But I think the same thing, obviously, about emerald that I do diamond is that we overthink it. I think we need to start telling people how to get to emerald. And if you're on this call and you're not emerald yet, here's how you do it. Sign up a spouse or a family member and a discount coach. That's how you get to emerald. It's very easy. Like, you don't need to overthink it at all. And if you have coaches that sign up and they're ready to run immediately, say you sign up a coach tomorrow, because you very well could. You very well could sign up a coach tomorrow. Talk to this coach and ask this coach, do you want to work this? Do you want to run this with me and build a business, or do you want to be a hobby coach? And if they say, yeah, I want to run, I want to do this, I want to make money. Okay, your first step is emerald. Sign up your spouse or family member and a discount coach. Just be blunt. If they want to run with this and they want to be successful, tell them how to get there, and then they'll do what they will with it. Does this seem doable?
I think it seems super doable. It's just a matter of like making yourself do it even when you don't want to. Because I know that like at least just about everybody on my team will get like this anxiety. Like they'll do so well for like 3 days and then get this like clam up anxiety like, I really can't do this. So it's literally just about like making yourself do it whenever you don't even want to.
Yeah, and when you get no's. Like, I think people get so bent out of shape. It's like you might get to Friday and you're like, I've not had one person sign up. And instead of getting down on yourself, like we've got to figure out how to push past that and know that what you're doing still matters, and know that if you lose your momentum and you lose your excitement, then you have to work all over again to build that up again. Like if you consistently have excitement and passion for what you're doing for 6 weeks straight and you don't give up and you know that this is worthwhile, like people are going to start feeling that. If you are really passionate for 1 week and you're like, dang, I suck, nobody signs up, and you go quiet or you lose your excitement, people are going to notice that. And then it's going to take you a long time to build their trust again if you're hot and cold like that. Like you've got to keep your excitement for what we're doing because it freaking changes lives. Like it just does. Tattooed my body because this all changed. I mean, Jesus changed my life, but through coaching, literally through coaching. This stuff is like anybody would want to do this. Does anybody have questions or concerns or confusion?
No, I just want to say I really appreciate you putting this out for us, though, because I think, I don't know, but I'm not going to speak for anybody else on this call, but I overthink everything.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of my areas of expertise. So having it laid out and the idea of like, it just is this simple is super helpful. And the idea of also, if I don't make it, like I don't have to beat myself over, but like I've made steps in the right direction. I just have to keep pushing. So
yeah.
It is what I'll say.
I'm glad. And the cool thing is if we get through these 6 weeks and you didn't get there, you still have this roadmap, and I still think it can work, and I still think you could do it again for another 6 weeks. And I do think this is going to get you there, whether or not it's in this 6 weeks or the following or the following or the following. Like, I think this works. I know it works because this is how I run my business exactly. And I gave you some examples of how I post about coaching. If that's helpful, actually, let me just ask you, what do you need from me in these 6 weeks? How can I help you and make sure that you feel supported as you try to get to this goal?
I think the writing, like getting really honed in on our captions will be super helpful, especially since that's an area where you have strength. And just like the breath of belief, like I said, like I'm going to sit here and go, no, I can't do it. Like I'm done. Like I'm just like, so just that constant, like, no, you're going in the right direction. Like you can do this. Like it's like you're capable of doing this, I think. But the writing would be spectacular.
Okay. So for that, do you mean like feedback, or do you mean like, do you want me to keep posting examples of how I post about coaching? Also, I didn't really think about this, but do you guys want me to follow this as well? So every single day you can look at what I'm doing?
I think, like, I don't want to copy you because you know what I mean? Like, so I think seeing examples is beneficial, but I think you also have gotten to know each one of us really, really well. So I think even like a quick DM, like, hey, this caption, if you would have done this, kind of like you would edit a paper, basically, like in a writing class, like just that personal like feedback, which is going to take a ton of your time, which I understand, but
This is my job.
right. But yeah, like I think at some point I can see so many examples and I think I have a really good idea and I end up sounding a lot like somebody else.
Okay. Could you guys do me a favor as you're posting and doing stories? If there's something that you want feedback on before it goes out, you can message me. But at the same time, I don't want you to be waiting on me because I do have stuff going on. I would rather you act and me give you feedback than you wait. So I'll just throw that out there. Second thing I was thinking is if you for sure want me to see something, because I don't spend a lot of time scrolling on Instagram, or I try not to, tag me in a story if you want me to see it, but make it teeny, 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 tiny so nobody can tell that you've tagged me, or tag me in a post if you for sure want me to see it. That'd be a really easy way. Like, okay, not if you want me to see it, if you want feedback. Let me put it that way. If you want feedback on something, tag me, but don't make it obvious. I see some comments over here. Where do we find this calendar? I will send it. Actually, Meg, you have it. Can you send it to Christine? They're writing, but also terrified of you. What? Courtney, don't be terrified of me critiquing you.
I'd also like you to follow your plan too, because not that I copy you, but I've taken posts that you have made, and then I've like made it my own thing.
Yeah.
And so I find that to be helpful.
I mean, I can totally do that. I think that'll be fun for me. So I will follow my plan so you can see. The biggest piece of advice a teacher ever gave me writing was show, don't tell. Tiffany, can you explain that?
Real quick so I can still make it spirit and fun.
Okay.
So one of my teachers, she would always say like, okay, so this kind of goes hand in hand with the whole, like, tell us a story. Don't just be like, I've got this program that changed my life. Like, tell the story about how it changed your life. Don't just tell us that it changed your life. Like,
Yes.
Be a real life example and tell a real, like, genuine story. Like that, I mean, it might make you cry or it might make you upset or something that just really gets you fired up. But it's like having that emotional piece to it makes a really big difference. And in my mind, if you don't have that emotional piece to it, like I didn't for a long time, I was just going through the motions and I didn't see the kind of success I wanted to see because I didn't realize like the deeper meaning behind all of this to me. So it's like, maybe it might take you to do a little bit of soul searching, but I mean, it's worth it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Take time and reflect if you need to before you start tomorrow. I do want to give you 2 examples because I have 2 really good examples of super high engagement on a coach post and super low engagement for me on a coach post. My recent one was super low, and let me just show you what it looks like and then what I said. So my caption, I'm going to read both of them to you. This is one with low engagement. I've been smaller and I've been bigger, but I've never been healthier. What if I said you could get access to 1,200 workouts, simple meal plans, and get paid to follow them? Sound interesting to you? Drop a below and we'll chat, okay? And here's my picture. I actually thought this was a good post. But it doesn't matter what I think if my people don't think it's a good post. They did not think it was a good post. I don't have as much engagement as I usually have. I've found that my followers don't like pictures of me in my athletic clothes for whatever reason. So I try very hard not to post them unless it's just, I mean, sometimes it's just what I wear and they're going to have to get over it. But let me show you one of the highest engagement posts I've ever put out there. It's also about coaching, obviously. I took a deep breath, walked into my principal's office, and knew exactly what I was about to say. Contrary to what you might think, it was hard. Hard to leave my comfortable place, hard to leave the students I love, and hard to walk away from what I've always known. With tears streaming down my face, I told my principal it was my last year working as a teacher and I was going to pursue my dream as a health coach. I told him about all my fears and uncertainties, but also my certainty in my decision. Lastly, I told him I knew God was calling me to start/be involved in some sort of ministry and create a life of availability to serve, share, and love those around me. After I finished spilling my guts and snotting all over myself, my principal gave me a funny look and said, "Paige, it's pretty clear your business is your ministry." After a weekend of tears, laughter, sharing fears, being complete weirdos, trying things for the first time, dreaming together, eating too much food, and making unforgettable memories, I know my principal was exactly right. Because of Jesus, we really are fit for more. With this picture. So both about coaching. One of them has like 5 times the amount of engagement because I told a story, because I was real, because I brought them in to something. And in my post this week that I posted about coaching, I didn't do that at all. I didn't think about it very much. I threw up a picture of me. It was a selfie in the mirror in athletic clothes. And it had it didn't mean anything to me, and it didn't mean anything to anybody else. So the way you tell your story makes a humongous difference. So just, I don't want you to freak out when you post. I don't want you to overthink, but there is a lot of benefit in like taking a second to reflect and thinking about what you're going to put out there.
I just wanted to say too that I just looked at my like top post or top engagement, and like nowhere even in the near like top 20 is there like a fitness post. I mean, it could be fitness, but I should say, like you said, like a workout, hair up, whatever. Like nobody, crickets all the time when that happens. So I'm trying to like actually get out of my house and take some pictures because like you said, like nobody engages with that at all. And I think that's like a trend that I'm seeing with a lot of people. Like Paige, you said, or you showed the two, kind of like when you first began pictures to now. I feel like it's just so saturated, not saturated, but I mean, you can't just be fitness. You can't just post, sweaty selfies or just workout clothes all the time because everybody sees that. But if you, like you said, tell your story and you share like a really good picture, that's what's going to get the engagement with people.
Yeah, I agree. And people are a lot more concerned with what this is providing you than what it is. Like working out isn't, like I'm not obsessed with working out. I'm obsessed with what working out provides for me. I'm not obsessed with like the daily actions of being on my phone all day and like social media, but I'm obsessed with what it leads to. And I think that's what we have to be really good at sharing with people, is not what we offer, not what we provide, but what we gain from the things that we offer, if that makes sense. Does anybody have any more specific questions about the calendar that I made for you? Anything through the 6 weeks, the examples I gave you, your goals?
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm in the middle of a conversation with someone, and I threw out like, hey, final question, do you want 25% off everything from here on out? And I got, what would that involve? This is where I lose a ton of people, is that stupid monthly fee.
So what do you think she's asking when she says, what does that involve? Is she saying, what's the catch?
I think so.
So here's what I would say. If somebody would say, what does that involve? I'd say it'd be a quick purchase link. You would sign up and you'd get 25% from here on out. She'd say, great. I would send her the link. She'd read through it. She might say, oh, there's a $15 fee every month. And I'd say, yeah, it's no big deal. That's so you can keep your 25% discount. You can get exclusive access to groups with the trainers. And you actually can make a few bucks with your friends and family.
Yeah. Okay.
Believe in the $15 just as much as you believe in anything else.
Okay.
You don't put doubt in her mind. Don't apologize for the $15 because it's worth it.
Oh, I completely believe that it's worth it. It's just I've had so many people like be very unkind about the $15, or like I've had people get upset that they didn't know that their stuff was on auto ship, and I was like, you had all the like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the worst thing that can happen is she's like, no, and you say, okay, you can be a regular client.
Okay.
I lost my own mom over having to give your social security number. That's interesting. I don't even know what to say to that. That's hard. I mean, you may just accept those people as losses and move on because there are other people who are willing, and then maybe she'll come around in the end.
I had a girl say that too. She was really uncomfortable with it. And I just tried to explain, like, if they just need your social security for tax purposes in case you do make anything.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people they might not think like this is a real business. So they're like, why do they want my number? But I explained it in terms of just like tax. And like you said, you can make a couple bucks. And if that's the case, then they just need that for tax purposes. And the one that I talked to seemed to go over fine, but I know everybody's different.
It's funny, I've never, ever had anybody question that. But, I mean, it's an understandable thing to question. Okay, well, any other questions about the calendar, about the 6 weeks?
I have a question, if you can hear me.
I can.
Okay, awesome. So on the calendar, I forget what date it was. I don't have it in front of me, but you said to go live and just be short and sweet about, having an opportunity coming up, I guess, on that Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So as someone who is like a word vomit person and always like overthinks everything, how are you like doing that?
Okay, so I haven't thought really through this very much because I just now made the decision to do this with you guys. But I think the way I will probably handle it is I will go live for a different purpose and throw it in there and be like, oh my gosh. Also, I want you to know that something really cool is coming up on Monday. So like maybe I'll go live and show them how I curl my hair, or I'll go live and I'll show them how to make my favorite iced coffee, or I'll go live while I'm cooking dinner to say like, I want you to see this recipe. And during that, then you can be like, I also have something really exciting to tell you. And on your story or in a post, you can also be like, exciting announcement in my live, go check it out. But make sure it's short enough that people watch, like, 2 to 3 minutes. That might be a personal thing. I don't really watch things that are long.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, thanks.
Okay, well, we're going to do this. And I know that in 6 weeks or even before, we're going to have people popping diamond because it's not as hard as you think. Like, we are going to have people popping throughout the next 6 weeks. It's going to happen. And for it to happen for you, you need to affirm yourself every day that you are a leader. You can help other people be successful in this business, and you are diamonds. Like, it's not that far away. I don't care if you have 0 coaches. It is not that far away. So